This is the most offensive thing I've ever seen. They took that 2007 movie full of British white people and put them all in blackface.
Well, not all, because you got Peter Dinklage showing up in the exact same role he played in the other movie.
And they should have put him in blackface.
That would have been funny.
Bizarro filmmaking at its finest.
Yeah.
I am curious as to why they didn't get that black midget from Me, Myself, and Irene.
Because white midgets are funnier. That's why.
Okay, fair enough.
And they live in trees and make cookies. Don't you know?
No, he was busy running from the cops. Yeah.
With his little legs.
You're gonna get me, coppers. I'm Babyface McGee, Baby Blackface McGee.
Yeah, Babyface Jackson.
The latest action hero. Small in size, big in action. Babyface Jackson.
He was making that movie. Unavailable, pal.
This little man with an afro twice the size of him. But nah, man, this is the kind of movie. See, white people gonna look at this and be like, see, black people can't have nothing. Now they're gonna think like we have funerals, just knocking over things and dancing and making jokes.
Well, a lot of fainting. A lot of fainting and slapping.
I kind of want to go to a black funeral after seeing that trailer now.
No, you don't.
No? Okay.
I just came from one. It ain't no picnic.
It's not so good? Okay.
No.
All right.
You know how like they always show like in the movies they make a black church look like it's so much fun?
Yeah.
And white people are like say, man, I want to go to a black church. They be singing and turning flips. It ain't like that. You sit in a hot room with all them sisters falling out. It's like, I just want to go home.
So it's the Source Awards without the gunfire?
Yeah. Somebody comes already dead. Yeah. See, Cyrus is looking at this and he's thinking like, damn, even a black funeral's a party. Like even the body jumps out the casket dancing. Oh, party.
Plus they have all these white guys trying to make it with Zoe Saldana, or how do you say her name? Zoe Saldana.
That blue cat girl.
Uhuru from Star Trek.
Sure.
Yeah.
The hot-colored chick.
A hot, light-skinned black lady.
Yeah, who apparently in this movie don't dig nothing but white man.
No.
Yeah, she's the perfect girl for you.
She's watching her diet.
I would hate you to ever meet her. I would walk away and come back and she'd be in tears. They're like, boy, what have you done this time?
Just told her about it.
White men, fewer calories. That's what I read in Cosmo.
This story would be like, hey, baby, you want to go out? She'd go, no. He goes, well, fine. Why don't you eat a fucking sandwich, you skinny bitch?
Damn.
I don't want you nowhere.
Talking
I was
about
just
a hood
saying,
like
no, maybe tomorrow would be better.
Oh my God.
Well, then after you eat that sandwich tomorrow, we can go out.
Well, didn't you guys notice there's Chris Rock in this movie and what's his name, Martin? Now, aren't those guys like considered like the black kryptonite of black cinema right now? I mean, usually everything they star in tends to fail.
Not necessarily, Chris Rock.
Or not be good.
But Chris Rock, it's like you never want to see him headline a movie because he's not a good actor.
No.
It's like he's a great stand-up. But here he's got the straight role, so already that's a huge strike against this movie.
Chris Rock is genuinely funny at stand-up, and he's a really good writer, but he's a terrible performer. Generally speaking.
He's one of my favorite stand-up comedians, but he is an awful actor.
But he doesn't hold a candle to how bad Martin Lawrence is in many ways, because Martin Lawrence, you pile on top of that the fact that he's not funny in any level, and his very existence is a splinter in my soul.
Damn.
Well, the thing about Martin Lawrence is he's constantly trying to be funny, trying to make you laugh. And there's nothing worse than somebody really trying to make you laugh when they're not funny.
Yeah. Believe me, I've done it plenty of times.
I think we're all guilty of that, my friend.
I gotta tell you, a lot of things in the script look like they're bordering on kind of offensive. There's like a line real early on where they're like look in the coffin, it's like, that's not my dad. And they look down at the Asian guy, that's Jackie Chan. I was like, okay, for a minute I want you to imagine that the cast racial roles were reversed here. And it was a bunch of Asian people in the cast and there was a black guy in the cabinet. And they're like, shh, that's not my dad, that's Barack Obama. Be like, well, that's kind of offensive.
Well, see, when you say
not understand black comedy at all, which is that we can get away with racist jokes all the time.
Cyrus, see, when you say it, it's not funny. It's never funny.
Matter of fact, you saying it just pissed me off.
God damn it.
No, speaking as black people, my man Liam, my fellow black man.
Speaking as black people, we'd like to speak for all black people now.
I'm the head ambassador of black.
We are. Obama has made us like the
ambassadors.
The official
ambassador. And,
spokespeople for all black people.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. We are the king. He's president. We are the kings of black people.
All the way from Colin Powell to Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
You speak.
Now, if that joke had been made in the way you said it, I don't think that would have been offensive.
It strikes me like it's a little bit offensive. That kind of saying, look, they all look alike.
Actually, if they said
Stop
Barack
being
Obama, it
sensitive,
would have
dude.
been political also. So that would have made it offensive on a different
Now,
level.
if he had said, you got
Michael Jackson?
You got General Soul's chicken in there or something, then that probably would have been offensive.
Really?
Wow, these are fine
I don't know.
lines.
I don't know.
Honestly, to me, what's offensive about that joke is like, wow, Jackie Chan, that's what you reach for with this?
Yeah, it's wildly unfunny.
Yeah.
Why
I
not?
don't think it's funny, and that's it.
Why not Michael Jackson?
We're already past that. We moved on.
Man,
Pay attention, co-host.
You got to get him
Hey,
upgraded.
you got. Hey, I ain't got no legs. All right, you guys need to hold up.
The Leon podcast moved pretty fast. If you don't watch out, you get left behind.
You have an example right here of trying too hard to be funny.
He's running an old operating system. You got to give him a break.
Just like you, pal.
No, I think that there's a lot of things that are offensive about this that as you mentioned, Leon, have nothing to do with race. Like just a lot of stuff in here that's not funny. A lot of physical humor.
That's offensive enough.
Yeah.
As naturally funny people, I would like to say as our spokesperson, this movie looks like it sucks.
One thing I do think is funny is like when you get to Danny Glover, you're like, wow, he is definitely too old for this shit.
Yeah. And did you notice he's still stuck on that same toilet from Lethal Weapon 3? I thought Riggs helped him out with that problem. I guess not.
I know you always getting stuck on that toilet. You need a new toilet, man.
Shit, man, he's like 70. There's like toilet explosions in his house every day
I know.
now.
You might switch to a diaper, man. But I just find it. I wonder why. I find it funny that when they take certain comedies or TV shows and they decide to make it an all black thing, that's always been confusing to me.
Well, I'm curious because Chris Rock made that movie. I think I Love My Wife, or I Love My Wife Too. I think I Love My Wife, and he explained how it's a French movie that he saw that he thought was real funny. He decided he wanted to make his own version of it.
And he did Heaven Can Wait, his version of Heaven Can Wait too.
Now, did he produce that?
I have no idea.
I mean, I know he starred in it, but like, I think I Love My Wife was something he put together himself because he was so inspired by that movie. And it
Bad
makes me
call.
wonder. Yeah. I mean, now that you bring up, Heaven Can Wait, I wonder if this is just his thing. He said like, you know what? I love that British film and I want to do this, except with an all black cast.
Yeah, and the first one was directed by Frank Oz, who we know is of Jim Henson's class. He's the voice of
Miss
Piggy.
He's the voice of Miss Piggy, Bert, Fozzie Bear,
Yoda, he is.
and Yoda.
He's got his hand up all those dudes' asses.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool if they remade this with a cast of all black Muppets.
See, that would have been cool.
See, that would have been
That would
awesome.
have been.
Why do they have to be all black? If they're Muppets, what difference does it make?
That's right. It could be purple and green.
Just Muppets.
I prefer Eskimo Muppets.
Although I would insist they put Roosevelt Franklin back in if they didn't do that.
Everybody's like,
Who?
I remember Roosevelt Franklin so
No,
much, man.
I love throwing that out there just so people go like, what? Let me get to Wikipedia and see what he's talking about.
Is she the lady at the back of the bus? Is that? No.
I think it's funny though.
Kermit in the Chris Rock role.
Even the crickets are shaking their heads going like, man,
I got nothing.
that's over the line.
The other thing is funny is that I'm glad that Luke Wilson has decided to come back in the films. Like now that he fills the whole screen up, he's gotten big.
He
His
has.
face is big. I mean, I'm sure his body's probably the same, but his head is huge.
He's puffy.
Yeah, it is. It's like, man, what the hell you been doing, man?
Luke Puffy Wilson. Sean.
He has Tyler Perry syndrome.
See them start a buddy cop movie.
So here we have Chris Rock, who plays sort of the matriarch of the family. He's the older brother.
He's
guy
the
who's-
patriarch.
Yeah.
Did I say
Matriarch would be the
Did I
mom.
say I'm sorry. I know the difference between a matriarch and a patriarch. I don't know why I said matriarch. Maybe I'm thinking of Chris Rock in a dress right now.
You're thinking
about his father.
you're thinking of Tyler Perry.
Oh, there you go.
Somewhere Chris Rock is going, what?
Chris Rock is son of Medea. No, he's the patriarch of the family. He's the one he's the older brother. He's the one who's taking care of his older parents. And when the father dies, he has to keep everything together on a crazy day. Now, as if it's not enough that they're bringing over a boyfriend that's not liked, that drugs have been smuggled in, that that you have people hitting on underage people in the movie. But
you got midgets running around.
But that's the thing. A white midget shows up out of nowhere who has some shady past with the dad.
And then this whole movie becomes a big circus.
Yeah.
Was he a midget? Because throughout this entire movie, they went out of their way to not call him a midget
Did you notice
or dwarf.
that?
Yes. They kept saying, hey, did you see that guy in the leather jacket? And nobody said, what, you mean the dwarf in the leather jacket?
And they all went, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Really?
I know.
They didn't even say like, oh, you mean that white guy in the leather jacket? It was just like, that guy in the leather jacket.
I know in a movie with Martin Lawrence, Chris Rock, and Tracy Morgan, I was just expecting just for them to unleash on that little guy, and I'm like, here it comes.
No, it's like you are at a room full of black people. You at a black funeral. Do you know how many people are wearing leather at this? It could be anybody. But
the thing is, Peter Dinklage in that role.
Yeah.
Which, okay, this is a movie it's a remake. I mean, it is a note-for-note remake of the British film that came out just a handful of years ago.
It was 2007 when it came out. And by the way, dwarf I think is acceptable.
Right.
Midget is what they don't like. And I was just thinking they can't even say dwarf.
Exactly. But I mean, it's not till late in the film where they say that little guy or can fit in my pocket. But other than that, it's like, come on, y'all.
I think Peter Dinklage came on the set and told them,
it's like, look, it's in his contract.
Yeah, it's in his contract. I'm a man, goddammit. I'm not a midget, and I'm sure not some fantasy ass dwarf.
I bet he said, you coons can call each other nigger all you want. You're not calling me a midget.
Yeah. It's like, what y'all fucking think this is? Some Lord of the Rings shit up here? I ain't no fucking dwarf. But I got a beard.
The funny thing is that he may have told him, look, you can't call me a midget, but you can midget toss me all over the place in the film, all right?
Which is what they do.
Yeah.
But I bet you he went to New Zealand already going, and for the salary to be in The Hobbit, you can call me whatever the hell you want.
I think about it before, but that is weird. That I wonder was he pissed off? They're like, wow, here's a movie, a huge movie built around short people, and instead of using me, they pick guys who are just kind of short and use CGI to make them short.
I know. He's like, I'm the best dwarf actor out there, and I'm not chosen to be a dwarf in a movie where there are dwarves.
Unless he's so sensitive that he can't even stand to be called Hobbit. Hobbit number one. God damn it, I am not a hobbit. That is an offensive term. That's like calling me a gook.
It's like, are you 4 feet tall? No. So are hobbits. Okay, we're only calling you a hobbit in the context of the film because you are. Yeah, no, you are short. Very, very short.
But he's probably like,
I don't think less of you, except in actual, height.
So he's probably like, look, hobbits have hairy feet. Okay, look at this shit. This is clean right here. This is clean.
I shave it every day.
I'd be like, I'll call that motherfucker whatever I want. He can't hear me.
But you are right, though. I mean, that's one of the things in this movie that I did not like because you said a note-for-note remake.
Yes.
Do you remember when we saw that movie? Because you and I saw it.
Yeah, we saw it. And to me, you know what? It was like watching, I was like, wow, British comedies are usually smarter than this and not so telegraphed.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of dull.
So I'm not even blaming any of the actors. I'm not blaming the director. I'm not blaming anybody except I'm blaming them for like following that first movie.
Right.
Because the first movie, as we remember it, it was just too much of a setup for disaster. Like everything was orchestrated to not work just for comedy's sake.
Yeah.
And there was too much slapstick. There was like bathroom humor.
Yeah.
And all those complaints that we have in that movie, well, since this is a note-for-note remake, they apply here.
Man, I had a hard time believing that it could possibly be as telegraphed as this was, because I haven't seen the first movie. I actually turned to Leon at one point, a good 20 minutes before something happened, and described the ending of the film, just sequence for sequence what was going to happen, and I nailed it. I mean, this film was so telegraphed, I'm surprised it wasn't made by Western Union.
Well, I've never seen the movie either, but watching the film, I was like, now I know the white version of this can't be as crazy as this, because it's like after like halfway through it, my brain was about to explode just with all the black foolishness going on the screen. I was like, can they at least let me take a break and breathe? Can I go get a hot dog or something? Because shit, I can't take any more of this comedy. It's like they keep going and going with the jokes until one of them hits. And usually the only time it hits is when Danny Glover pops up on the screen, which he was awesome in this goddamn movie.
Okay. I need you to pick up Uncle Russell.
We're gonna be late, Fatty. Oh, damn it, Uncle Russell. I love you, but you're gonna be in the box next.
cranky
if,
old
if
guy.
there was one, positive, one word one place to use awesome, it would be for Danny Glover.
Yeah.
He stole all his scenes. He was
did.
authentic. And Corey, when you were laughing, I knew why you were laughing, because there's like, that old man is in my family.
Yes.
He reminds me of my dad. He reminds me of some of my uncles. He is authentic.
Your dad is a cool motherfucker, then.
No, those, I mean, I swear to God, those scenes with him and Tracy Morgan in the movie were sometimes note for note. I hate using that saying again, note for note. Goddammit. But they were me and my dad, even to the point where they had Tracy Morgan had him on the toilet. Mm-hmm. That was me and my dad.
Oh, really?
My hand to get stuck in his ass.
Which I was going to say, until he drops one of the biggest turds in the entire film of a joke.
I know.
You're like, oh, do you have to do that? Do you have to go there?
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone want to see that?
But that's the thing.
Well, it's clearly a cover song. But you know what? This is the funny thing about cover songs. They're better if you take them and do something really different with them.
Well, they did. They had a whole black cast.
I'm sorry. I could do that by adjusting the colors on my television set.
Well, Corey, going back.
This was the whiz of British comedy.
Corey, going back to the shit joke. I remember you were always telling me your dad's always taking a shit on you. But I thought you were saying it in a metaphorical sense.
Yeah, but not literally, not like in this movie. Where he pretty much fucking melted a fudgesicle on my hand.
I think they must think somewhere that Americans are fecophiliacs or something.
But it was British.
Well,
they did the British version.
Maybe the white people or black people or people who speak English. We'll just say that.
I mean, the only difference
we love poop. Like what can you do?
Well, I know. Well, in the original movie, it was the guy shit on a white hand. He washed it. The hand was white again. In this movie, he washed his hand. The hand was still brown.
But this poop joke went on for a good 5 minutes.
Oh,
it was like they just did not let it go.
Well, I mean, but there's certain things in the movie like Chris Rock in this movie. I liked him because they made him pull back. He is the guy that has to be the straight man in this movie for most of the time.
True.
And while he's not the greatest actor out there, I mean, he just doesn't have. I mean, you know what ruins Chris Rock? His reaction shots. He's got those big eyes. Dude. He keeps rolling those big fucking eyes.
Like the first 10 minutes of that movie where he pops up, looking at him, it's like he was almost transforming or morphing into like one of those ventriloquist dummies where he acts with his shaky head and his eyeballs go left to the right to the left.
You know what? That is true. Chris Rock looks like a ventriloquist dummy. He looks like
Lester.
Lester, yeah.
Like from Willie Tyler and
Willie Tyler and Lester, yeah.
He does. And he's wooden as hell. Get it, Leon.
No. Hey, man, you mean that literally.
The only thing you got to do with Chris Rock is draw 2 lines on his mouth. You will have a dummy. Put him on your lap, you have the best ventriloquist actor in the world.
But you're right, he did pull way back in here, but it's because he's the only straight man in the entire film. Everyone else is mugging like crazy and everything. Even James Marsden's like,
but hey man, that was the Alan Tudyk role in the first one. And it was, he pretty much played it like it was. I mean, I kind of felt sorry for James Marsden because they clearly told him like, look, just get out there and act like you're high. Yeah. And he's like, but I've never been high.
No.
Just do the best you can.
He's a white guy. He's an actor. He said, well, high like what specifically? You have to give me some details.
I'm sure they told him, look, just fucking act like Jim Carrey, all right? Just try to do your best impersonation.
But I think they really got that guy high. Just let him go.
And Luke Wilson's character seemed like he was one way at first, and then they wrote him a different way somewhere in the middle.
Can you be less puffy? No? Okay. Right,
well, that's the problem with the movie. James Marsden, I don't know if they told him to go out there and improvise and just let him go, but there's too much of him mugging in the movie.
Yes. It's a one-note joke that goes on, and it's never funny.
It really is James Marsden, and really I don't think it's to his fault. It's just him making faces throughout the whole thing.
Crawling like an animal, just being silly.
And the whole thing is only there to set up the final joke, really. It's the only reason it's happening at all in the film.
And then there's other things in there. I mean, you didn't even need certain plot lines. Luke Wilson, you mentioned?
Yeah.
That was
completely
absolutely
unnecessary.
Not needed. Make the movie longer than it needed to be. That could have been taken out. But like I said, there's certain things I did like about the movie. I mean, the movie is throwing so many bad jokes out there that every about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, I get a chuckle. Not something, not a laugh out loud thing about it, but like a chuckle. And there were a couple of things that I did laugh out loud at, like when Danny Glover kept coming on the screen.
Oh yeah, gold.
Oh yeah,
every moment. Yeah.
I mean, he was so cranky. God damn it! You fucking idiot! Come here, take me to the toilet like a shit.
He made a simple word like "God damn it" just sound really funny, and because when you looked at him, I mean, that motherfucker can act. You believed he was pissed off and irritated. I'm sure he read the script. He's like, fuck. God damn it! I'm sure every time he watched Tracy Morgan try to be funny, each time he jabbed him with that cane, he meant it. He's like,
Yeah.
goddamn.
Well, there was-
I just thought Tracy Morgan wasn't that bad. He was a lot more pulled back than I expected.
Oh, he was only likable because we got to see him constantly getting beaten over the head with a cane
which
by
is why
Danny
he was
Glover.
funny. Yeah.
That's the only reason I liked him even slightly in here. But Danny Glover wasn't having a great time. I mean, you could tell that things weren't happy when there's that single shot of him cut out. You could tell they said, we'll find a place put in here somewhere, where they had to show him going, I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh, they had
and
to
you
put
could
that in there.
you could see him seething as he said the line.
And
Like, really?
That was the one unfunny moment that he had.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
everything else he did was amazing.
But that was an example of the problem with the filmmaking here, and it wasn't blaming him. It was the problem with the filmmakers. There's a lot of shit like that going on here that's just so weak and so badly thought out. I mean, for instance, the movie, it's got all these characters, and it tries to set up like little mini arcs for all these characters, and what their problem is, will it get resolved? And it doesn't resolve anything in any way that makes sense. They're all cop-out resolutions. I mean, every last one of them is like, well, we don't really have a resolution because this isn't a strong script with well thought out characters, so we'll just have something like, we'll just say it's resolved.
No, it's the kind of movie where they know that for the audience that they want, the audience is not asking very much.
No.
So they're saying, you know what, we're going to let the silliness carry the movie. And really, that's what it is. It's silly. I mean, it's just all this physical comedy. Like you said, I don't know why they won't mention midget or dwarf in this movie, but they'll let that little motherfucker be thrown all across the room. You know, I mean, because they do so much with that midget, and then
did you notice? Didn't it seem weird that like Zoe Saldana, her character, only dated white guys, but nobody ever brought that fact up?
But you know something? I'm beginning to think that that's something with Neil LaBute. I mean, because he's the one that did Lakeview Terrace, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, the black people really hate white people, and they only hate the white people because they're dating black women, and the white guys are innocent. I mean,
Neil LaBute didn't direct this.
Yes.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh shit!
The guy who did
No, I know who Neil LaBute is.
Look, for the people, hold on. For the people out there, I would tell them who he is. He wrote your friend. Wait a minute. What did he do? Did he direct? He directed Your Friends and Neighbors.
Yes.
What else did he do?
I think Nurse Betty, but
Nurse Betty.
I mean, he has a history of doing these things that are great, but they're like always like really fucked up stories.
When I first saw who directed this, I thought the same thing. I'm like,
Holy
that guy
cow.
who directed all these dramas is now directing like this crazy black comedy.
That's heartbreaking.
No, because this, you look at the story and you're like, I can see how you could tell this story with the setup and it could be really interesting and even really funny. But it's like every opportunity they were just like, no, let's go for the easy joke.
Yeah.
Let's go for the ABC Family joke or the
Except we'll say fuck 'em.
or the homophobia joke or whatever it is. It's like there's nothing really. The gags are so lazy here. Every once in a while Danny Glover says something that's funny, but that's really about it.
And the situation with the dwarf where, something happens to him and the way they resolve that, I was like, okay, now this is just becoming cartoonish. It's like who would really treat the situation like that? So
No one.
I think it would have been funny if they would have just treated the actual situation a little bit more seriously.
Neil LaBute also did The Wicker Man, so he's not on a roll
shit.
here. Yeah.
What happened to that guy?
Money. That's what happened.
But it's still a lot of y'all's complaints. They were in the original British movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. It's really
So
hard
it's
to
hard to knock
blame
this one
this
for it.
film for that. I mean, they just transferred the script and put a black coat of paint on it. So
Well, didn't Chris Rock kind of buy the rights to that film? Isn't he the one who kind of brought this over and produced this?
is one of the producers.
Okay, so, I mean, you can blame Chris Rock 100% then. Say, look, man, you shouldn't have liked that film enough to pay for it and remake it. It's your fault for look, don't be a critic is all I'm saying.
Maybe it was cheap to buy it. Anyway, he got it.
Yeah, it was a bargain right there.
Because the black people were like, oh, Death at a Funeral, I loved that movie. I can hardly wait to see it with black people, with proper folk.
I know. Bringing a taste of jolly old England to the ghetto.
I mean, to be fair, maybe somebody said, okay, what's crazier than like a black wedding or funeral? Nothing. So let's bring it there. Why wouldn't that be more funny?
I will say that most of the actors that get on my nerves were the ones that did not bother me in this movie. And the scenes that they had together, I did enjoy. Like that whole thing where they were trying to cover up an incident in this film that had Tracy Morgan, Chris Rock, and Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
When they had all those guys together, I actually liked them together in this film. So, I mean, this is not a good movie whatsoever. I mean, it is about as lowest the denominator as you can get. I mean, they are not trying to do anything but just get by on people who would laugh at a fart joke.
Yeah.
And throwing a midget across the room. So, but
Which is actually funny, to be fair.
Midget
tossing gets me every time.
They did throw him behind a couch, and I laughed hard.
Wait. I'm sorry. Dwarf tossing.
Yeah.
The Hobbit tossing.
Hobbit toss.
Okay.
But I did laugh enough to get to rate this a rental.
You know, it's funny. I've been going back and forth between, like, I know it always sounds silly to say a high some old bullshit, but you know, we've got low rental, low full price. So we got to have a high some old bullshit and low rental. And I want to defend it more, but the more I think about it, the more I really disliked it, the more it left a nasty taste in my mouth. But there were performances here and there funny. Danny Glover is first time he's made me entertained in anything in a while. So I was like,
since Predator 2.
Yeah. So
that was a great film.
So you know what? I'm gonna be nice and give it a low rental.
All right.
Oh, well, shit. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I went back and forth. I sat through a lot of it just in pain, just bored. And I'm like, I know it's not your fault, because you're just copying the original. A lot of times people are like, man, I wish it could have been more faithful. It's like, well, this is what you get when things are faithful sometimes. Yeah. But, I got chuckles, never one laugh. I want to see, not even just not one big laugh, not even one laugh, but several little chuckles, low rental.
All right.
I'll give it a rental as well, only because it filled my quota for black foolishness in cinema this year.
You got it all right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Danny Glover, awesome as hell, and I did enjoy the dwarf segment where you find out that the father was having some fun time with him. That was pretty funny. That made me laugh. But rental.
All right.
Yeah.
I was hoping he was going to have, video, because I would thought it would have been great if it was like the two of them up on stage in drag singing show tunes or something.
Who, you talking about the
Peter Dinklage and the dad? Yeah, that would have been awesome. That totally would have added doing a big Dreamgirls sequence. Yeah, right?
Well, they
Probably
have videos.
It could have been. I just ran the hell out of there once that movie was done.
They have videos down the street at that kind of funny guys.
Do they? Can you see midgets with old black guys
that's what you're looking for,
having drag sex?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. That's what I was looking for.
Street, yeah.
Although to be fair, I think midget and dwarf are actually medical terms. They're different things. They're totally different things.
Yeah.
So this is to a very small select group of people. This was our most offensive episode ever.
You just ruined Chris Rock for me, though. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
Because I do not want to see another Chris Rock act unless he is a dummy sitting on somebody's lap.
Well, I swear to God, when I see Chris Rock, like in the opening scene, I can just see him mumbling to himself in his head. Okay, you're mad in the scene. You're mad. You're mad. You're mad. Remember you're mad. Remember you're mad.
And then all of a sudden you see his head just shake like crazy. His eyes going back and forth.
I know. I want to see a guy on stage drinking a glass of milk while the dummies on his lap. That difference between black people and niggers is... What is it, Chris? Crack!
Let me get this straight. Our father was romantically involved with a guy that could fit in his pocket. And you're mad because he's white?